So three things here really quickly, just kind of off the cuff. It's not a conservative position, number one, and I'll talk more about that here in a second. Number two, do dads matter to the left again? Number three, do families and babies matter to the left again? I feel like they need to pick whatever narrative they have. Look, I've heard this argument 6 ways to Sunday that, oh, well, we should have the government mandate paid paternity or paid maternity leave or paid family leave or whatever, that it's a conservative position. And if you were really supporting families, this is something that you would support. You can support families and you can also support employers and their free choice to freely determine whether or not they feel that this is best for their bottom line as a way to retain good employees or not. That's also, you can be both of those things at the same time. And I've noticed that a lot of conservatives have taken this approach without paying any heed to this huge nuance here, right? You can support families, but you can also support the federal government not getting involved and telling employers what to do with regards to maternity, paternity, or paid family leave. And I actually think that paid paternity leave, I have a whole post coming up on my newsletter on Substack about this separately from this, where I deep dive into it, but that's not a conservative position. So do not be tied up into thinking that you have to defend a conservative position while also acquiescing and accepting part of their premise as a way to try to get one over on them in this argument, because you're being baited to agree with them, and it conflates a number of issues. It's not a conservative position to support the federal government getting involved and mandating that employers provide paid family leave. Bottom line. And the other thing is, this is a guy who was super thirsty to get this job. He wanted to be on the taxpayer funded TEAT. He wanted that. So when you have a supply chain crisis and when you're a federal employee of this stature, you forego certain little luxuries like staying home for 2 months while accepting a taxpayer funded check so you can bottle feed your kids, okay? We have a lot of issues happening right now around the very thing that you said was close to your heart when you accepted this position in the first place. So you either want the job or you don't. But I'm going to tell you what, we as taxpayers, we don't really have a high level of tolerance for rhetorical flourish on this kind of stuff. Just do your job. Very simple. And by the way, this is what I mean when I said this is what it looks like when a party is captured by ideology. Positions like the Secretary of Transportation, this isn't about hiring someone who actually knows about transportation. It's about hiring someone who shares socialist ideology. Infrastructure bills aren't about infrastructure. They're about advancing the expansion of state power. Paid paternity leave is no longer about working women getting a much needed recovery period away from work to bounce back from their pregnancy and bond with their kids. It's about yet another handout that increases people's dependence on government, offering that special time off even to men, like Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Because if you're a progressive Democrat, every single last thing must serve the ideology. Everything is a chance to enlarge government and shrink the individual. Pete Buttigieg was not chosen because he could fix any kind of transportation issue or deal with infrastructure problems. He was chosen because he was a slick salesman who came from the same brown trousers and loafers factory that John Ossoff and Robert Francis O'Rourke came from. He was chosen because in the new progressive project called America, merit is a thing of the past. Meritocracy, as exemplified in people like Buttigieg, is fine, even preferable, provided it's served up by someone that has the right skin color, gender designation, or sexual orientation. Equity is the hot word now, and that's the goal. That is that's the God that progressive ideologues worship. Democrats and our transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, they don't care about solving real problems with the best people and solutions, like we should be doing with this current supply chain crisis. So what we're witnessing is how fast an administration can implode when ideology becomes its master, rather than dealing with reality and doing what is right for the American people. And consequently, this administration is in a nosedive and likely won't survive. The only question now is, will America survive this administration?